Welcome again to Family Dynamics with Bola, where we grow with our children, lean into God's wisdom, and embrace the beauty and the mess of parenting. Today, I'd like to discuss something really special with you. How do we build connection through our daily rhythm with our children? How do we make the ordinary moments count at something forever for our children? So today, let's just dive into it, right? I want to talk about how we can make that build those deeper connection with our children because you know what? We connect in order for us to correct them, right? It's not always through those big events or perfect days, but something that we can do, something simple, something repeatable that we can do, especially now in the US that kids have gone back to school. Summer is over and every child is back to school. So how can we build those connections through the daily things that we do with them? Because here's the truth. The most meaningful family moments, they don't always come from the big birthday parties or the birthday trips that we make or the chore charts that we have for them, right? They always come from those tiny, ordinary, and everyday rituals that we return to again and again. So let's dive deep into this episode today. We all know that we live in this very fast paced, fragmented world, and our kids, just like us, they want something really steady, something meaningful, right? When we have daily rhythms, it creates a sense of safety for them. They kind of know what's coming next. It gives them a sense of belonging. At least they're part of a family story, right? And then it gives them a sense of connection. They want to be seen. Every child wants to be seen and they want to be seen consistently. So having those daily rhythm does matter to them. It does matter to them, right? So one therapist had said, what you do every day is much more important than what you do every once in a while. I'd start with a story. Yeah, I like to use my own story. So my 11-year-old, I did notice after a while that she was becoming a little bit quiet. I just kept asking, "Are you okay?" She was like, "I'm fine, I'm fine." So I decided to start something where we'll just when they go to bed, I'll just lie down there. I'll be like, we call it pillow talk, right? The first couple of days, there wasn't anything going on. I'm just like, you know what? I'm here to listen to you. Something that you would want to tell me that you feel like we've not had time to say. And then I think after a couple of days, I began to hear things. That was not an accidental thing, right? It was something that I built up that turned into a relationship, that turned into something that we can use to connect with them, right? So, how do we move from routine to ritual? How do we make something seemingly ordinary to count for something that our kids will remember? So, I just share a few things. In the morning, every single thing that you do count. But if you find a rhythm, let's say in the morning, you give them a hug, you smile and say good morning when they say good morning to you, or you speak a blessing over them, right? Hug them before the rush. I understand they have to get to school, but you know that 30-second or 60-second big hug makes all the difference. It can make all the difference in the life of a child, right? And they'll be like, Mom, I'm not giving you that hug this morning. Or, something that you could always do it. Maybe you have like an affirmation or a blessing for them on the bathroom mirror as they're brushing their teeth, they're saying their affirmation. Let this be the first thing that they do in the morning. And I'm telling you, that morning connection is really, really, really important. And another thing that I always talk about is, you want to connect with them before you correct them, before you discipline, connect first. Let them feel like you see them, you get them, right? And then follow your own guidance when you want to correct them. This changes everything. When you feel like your child is not listening to you, you're probably not really connecting with them. So, in order for you to correct them, you need to connect with them in a manner that they feel like they're actually connected with you. And the third thing I'd like to talk about is anchor your family time, even if it's brief. It doesn't always have to be like a full sit down dinner, but when you share your meals together, car rides, I am telling you, sometimes we underestimate those car rides when you're going to drop them in the morning. It could be a game changer for you. They know the things that we have to do when we get into the car, even when I'm trying to do something. The kids know the things that we have to do on our car rides, right? When you pick them up, maybe later in the afternoon, you could ask them what was the favorite thing they did that day, what was the hardest part of their day, right? You could use your car ride for devotionals. You could even have like a dance party before you go to bed, or maybe while you're prepping for dinner, right? Uh, One of a family had shared with me that they started a 3 minute gratitude game, during their dinner cleanup. Everyone shares something that is specific that they are thankful for. And one of them was telling me, like, one of the kids said, "Today I'm thankful that I found a matching socks." It's something. But those time, make sure you have those family time, no matter how brief, no matter how uh, involved it is, right? Just make sure you have that. And in the evening, you can have wind down time that is made with intention. So it's all about being intentional about your parenting. You know, Night times are usually very sacred time. The hearts of the kids are open. Everybody's heart is open. You're winding down. You want to go to bed and all that. You can read, like we usually read a Bible passage, or it could be a paragraph. It could be maybe a verse, and you can ask them what's on their heart. Pray together, or do some exercise, right? And then have a phrase that you use consistently that they know how much they are loved, they can rest now. Say it so often that it becomes a part of your child's emotional memory. You want that. And the last thing I want to talk about is have like touch base moments throughout the day. Connection with your kids doesn't have to take that long. You just have to be real. Sometimes leave sticky notes on their lunch boxes or in their bedroom. Send voice notes to them. If you're not together, make sure it's funny though. You can just give them encouragement out of the blue. Sometimes that makes their day. Sometimes I'm like, oh, you make our family much more better. I love how curious you are, right? Thank you for being you. Thank you for being helpful. Thank you for helping me. Thank you for doing the dishes, right? One of the mom was just telling me, uh, our son would usually have a hard time coming home from school, but now when the child is coming and she meets him at the door, give him a cold drink, and then let him decompress, then he decides to talk to the mom. That's relationship. That's how you build relationship with your kids. And of course, what if you miss it sometimes? You will forget. Some days you'll be tired. But rhythms are not about perfection. They're about you returning back to it, right? This is who we are. This is how we keep showing up. Don't ever underestimate the power of 1 minute pause that says, I see you, my child. I'm here for you. I love you. So this week, as you go out, I want you to choose one rhythm and commit to it. Maybe it's that morning affirmation, money hug, or that 3 minute bedtime sit down that you want to have with the kids, or maybe it's gratitude at dinner, or one compliment during the car ride. You know, just commit to one rhythm that you will commit to and you will follow through all through the week, right? I would like to thank you so much for listening in. I would see you on the next episode, but until I see you, remain intentional. Take one pause, one smile, one soft word at a time. And remember, you are the perfect parent for your child. The most powerful moments are usually the quietest one. So don't look for something gigantic, something small. In the rhythm, connect with your child to correct them. This is Family Dynamics with Bola.